The sun rose slowly over the peaceful alien settlement of Belveria, nestled in green hills and near sparkling silver lakes. In a cozy home on the edge of town, Azura, a beautiful humanoid alien with blue skin and flowing white hair, was making breakfast for her daughter, Celeste. The delicious smell of cooking filled the air as Azura prepared to share big news. As Celeste entered the kitchen, yawning and stretching, she noticed the special meal. "Good morning, Mother," she said, smiling. "What's the occasion?" Azura smiled back warmly. "Good morning, my dear. I have something important to tell you. Sit down." Once Celeste sat, Azura took her hand nervously. "Celeste, I'm pregnant." Celeste's eyes widened in shock. "You're pregnant? But how? I didn't know you were seeing anyone." Blushing, Azura explained, "Do you remember Andrew, the human who came to our settlement? We've spent time together, and, well, one thing led to another." Celeste's face flushed and her heart raced. "Mother, I need to tell you something too. I'm pregnant, and Andrew is the father." Azura stared in surprise, her hand flying to her mouth. "What? When did this happen?" Tears filled Celeste's eyes as she confessed. "A few weeks ago. Andrew and I got close, and it just happened. I'm so sorry, Mother." Azura was silent for a moment, then reached out and wiped her daughter's tears. "Oh, Celeste," she said softly. "It seems we both fell for the same man, but I could never be angry with you. Andrew is kind, and I understand how you feel." Celeste looked up, surprised. "You're not upset?" Azura pulled her into a hug. "Of course not. We'll figure this out together. I love you, and nothing will change that." Just then, a knock came at the door. Azura opened it to find Andrew standing there, his face full of worry. "Hello," he said, his deep voice hesitant. Andrew's voice was filled with surprise as he asked, "I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm looking for Celeste. Is she here?" Or stepped aside to let him in. "Yes, she's here. Please come in." Andrew froze when he saw Celeste at the table, her eyes red from crying. "Celeste, what's wrong?" Celeste stood, her heart racing. "Andrew, there's something we need to tell you. This is my mother, Azura." Andrew blinked, confused. "Your mother? But I thought." Azura placed a comforting hand on Andrew's arm. "We have news, Andrew. Celeste and I are both pregnant, and you're the father." Andrew stumbled back, pale. "What? How? I didn't even know you two were related." Celeste stepped forward, her voice soft. "I'm sorry, Andrew. I should have told you earlier, but I was scared. I never meant for this to happen." Andrew ran his hand through his hair, overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. This is too much." Azura nodded, her voice calm. "We understand. It's a shock, but we'll get through it together. We care about you, and we'll support each other." Andrew took a deep breath, looking at both women. "You're right. We'll figure this out. I care about both of you, and I'll do everything I can for you and our children." As they stood together, their hearts united, they knew their lives were about to change forever. But with love, they were ready to face whatever came next. Little did they know, an unexpected threat was lurking, ready to challenge their bond and their future. Later that day, Andrew, Azura, and Celeste sat around the kitchen table, still processing the shock of the morning. The air was filled with a mix of confusion, uncertainty, and a little excitement about the future. Andrew leaned back, still in disbelief. "I can't believe this is happening. I never imagined being a father, let alone to 2 children with 2 women." Azura reached across the table and took his hand. "I know it's a lot to take in, but we'll be fine. We're a family now and we'll support each other." Celeste nodded, placing her hand on her stomach. "Mom's right. We can make this work if we're honest and communicate." Andrew smiled, moved by their strength. "You both are amazing. I promise I'll do everything I can to be the best father and partner." The 3 of them joined hands, united in their decision to face the challenges ahead. They knew it wouldn't be easy, but they were ready. Azura stood and moved to prepare some tea. "I think we could all use a cup to relax and think things through." Celeste smiled. "That sounds perfect, Mom. Thank you." As Azura made the tea, Andrew thought about the future, holding his children, teaching them to walk and talk. Celeste reflected on her unexpected love for Andrew, realizing she wouldn't change a thing. Azura returned with the tea. They sat in silence, sipping, until Andrew spoke up. "We need to think about how to handle this with the community. Not everyone will be happy about our situation." Azura nodded. "You're right. We need to be prepared for some challenges, but love will overcome everything in the end." Celeste squeezed both their hands. "We'll face this together. The truth of our love is all that matters. As the day went on, they made plans for their future, from living arrangements to baby names. Andrew couldn't help but admire the strength of the two women. They had already been through so much, but their love and courage kept them strong. Azora, too, found herself falling more in love with Andrew every day. Celeste had never met anyone like Andrew, so kind, compassionate, and willing to embrace the unknown. She felt safe opening up in ways she never had before, especially with Andrew and Azora by her side. Together, they felt unstoppable. One evening, as the sun set, casting a warm glow on the settlement, they went for a walk. Hand in hand, they strolled through the streets, ignoring the curious looks and whispers around them. They knew their love was stronger than any judgment they might face, and together they felt ready to face anything. But even in their happiness, a sense of unease lingered. Something felt like it was approaching, a threat to their peaceful life. One night, as they sat on Azora's porch, watching the stars, Andrew spoke up. "I feel like something is coming," he said, his voice serious. "I can't explain it, but I sense a storm brewing." Azora agreed, her hand on her growing belly. "I feel it too," she said. "We need to stay alert. We have so much to protect." Celeste, leaning against Andrew, added, "We'll face whatever comes together. We're stronger than any threat as long as we have each other." The three of them stayed close that night, drawing strength from one another, knowing that no matter what happened, their love would help them overcome any challenge ahead. As the days passed, they grew more anxious about how their community would react. They couldn't hide their situation forever, and decided it was time to talk to the community leaders. One morning, they went to the central square to meet the elders. Azora's hand rested protectively on her belly, while Celeste held Andrew's hand. They knew this conversation would be difficult, but they were united in their love and determination. When they arrived, the elders greeted them with curious and concerned looks. The leader, a tall alien with deep blue skin and golden eyes, spoke first. "We've heard rumors about your situation," he said. "We called this meeting to discuss the impact of your actions on our community." Andrew stepped forward, calm and respectful. "We understand your concerns," he said. "Our love may be unconventional, but it's real and pure. We ask for your understanding and acceptance, not just for us, but for our unborn children." The elders exchanged silent glances. The leader spoke again, his voice softer. "We appreciate your honesty, Andrew, but this is something we've never faced before. Some in our community may not accept your union." Azora, with determination in her eyes, stepped forward. "We know our love might be hard for some to accept," she said, "but we believe in our community's compassion. Please give us a chance to show that our love is a strength, not a weakness." The elders were silent for a moment, considering her words. Then the leader nodded slightly, a small smile forming on his face. Andrew spoke with a newfound respect. "We'll give you a chance to prove yourselves, but we'll be watching closely. Any sign of trouble will be dealt with quickly." The trio nodded, feeling a mix of relief and determination. They knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but they were ready to face it together. As weeks went by, Azora and Celeste's pregnancies progressed, and the trio focused more on preparing for their children. They spent hours discussing baby names and nursery decor. Andrew was especially eager, working hard on the nursery, building cribs and changing tables by hand, wanting everything to be perfect for his children. Azora and Celeste grew closer through their shared pregnancy experience. They spent time talking about their hopes for their children, sharing childhood stories, and dreaming about the future. Their bond deepened, and Andrew admired their strength and resilience. He found himself falling more in love with both women. Azora and Celeste, too, grew even closer. Their love for Andrew and their children strengthened every day. But despite their joy, Andrew couldn't shake the feeling that something from his past might be catching up with him. One evening, while sitting in the nursery, Andrew voiced his concerns. "I feel like there's something I'm forgetting from my past, something important. I don't know what, but I think it could change everything." Azora and Celeste exchanged worried looks. They knew Andrew's past was a mystery, even to him. He had arrived without any memory of his previous life, and they had accepted him as he was. But with their children on the way, they realized they couldn't ignore his past any longer. "We'll face it together," Azura said firmly. We're a family, and we stick together. Celeste nodded, resting her hand on Andrew's shoulder. We love you, no matter what your past holds. It doesn't change who you are now or how we feel about you. Andrew felt a rush of love for the two women. He knew he didn't deserve their devotion, but he promised himself he would do everything to be worthy of it. As they sat together, surrounded by their growing family, they made a pact. They would face whatever challenges came their way, united by their love for each other and their unborn children. No matter what the future held, they would face it together. As the weeks passed, Andrew felt more restless. The unease about his past grew stronger, and he knew he couldn't keep running from it. One evening, he spoke up. I think it's time to face my past. I can't keep pretending it doesn't matter, especially when it could affect our family and future. Azura and Celeste exchanged concerned glances. They had never pushed Andrew to confront his past, but now, with their children on the way, they knew they couldn't avoid it any longer. They had to face it, together. Azura spoke softly. Face it head on, no matter how hard it is. We're here for you, Andrew. Whatever your past holds, we'll go through it together. We're a family, and families stick together. Celeste placed her hand on Andrew's shoulder in support. We love you, Andrew, she said with deep emotion. Nothing will change that, not even your past. Andrew felt his throat tighten. He loved these two women deeply and felt unworthy of their love. But he was determined to do whatever it took to be the man they needed. With a heavy heart, he started to share his past. He told them about his childhood on a distant planet, the war that destroyed his world, and the family he lost. He spoke about his time as a soldier, fighting in a war he didn't understand, and the things he had done to survive. He also revealed the experiments that turned him and others into enhanced soldiers, designed to fight and kill. Azura and Celeste listened in silence, their hearts breaking for him. They knew Andrew was special, but they never realized the depth of his pain and the extent of his abilities. When he finished, Andrew looked at them, tears in his eyes. I understand if you can't accept me now, he said quietly. I'm not the man you thought I was, and if you want me to leave, I'll understand. But Azura and Celeste shook their heads, their eyes filled with tears. They embraced him, offering comfort. We love you, Andrew, Azura said firmly. No matter what you've done or where you've been, you're part of our family now, and nothing can change that. Celeste added, her voice full of emotion. You're not a monster, Andrew. You're a survivor, a warrior, and the man we love. We will never turn our backs on you. A wave of relief washed over Andrew. He had feared his past would destroy everything he loved, but now, with Azura and Celeste by his side, he knew he had nothing to fear. They were a family, and families stick together no matter what. As the days went by, Andrew shared more of his past. Azura and Celeste listened with full attention, their support never wavering, even when the stories were dark. They began to understand how strong and resilient Andrew was, how he had survived so much without losing his humanity or compassion. They knew the future wouldn't be easy, but they would face it together, united by love for each other and their unborn children. As the weeks passed and their bellies grew, Andrew, Azura, and Celeste grew closer, sharing dreams for the future and marveling at the miracle of new life. They knew their family was unconventional, and some might not understand, but their love for each other was all that mattered. Love was a strength, not a weakness, and it would help them overcome any challenges ahead. When their children were born, Andrew, Azura, and Celeste welcomed them with open arms and hearts full of love. They knew they had created something special, and they were determined to cherish it forever. Holding their newborn babies, they realized they had found something rare, true and lasting love, a family that would always stand by them. They saw a future full of hope and possibility, knowing they could face anything as long as they had each other. They were a family, and nothing could tear them apart, not even the past or future challenges. As the months passed and their sons grew, the family settled into a comfortable routine. They took turns caring for the babies and enjoyed bonding with them. Andrew marveled at fatherhood, never imagining he would have a family, especially one as unique as his with Azura and Celeste. He spent hours playing with his sons, teaching them, and sharing stories from his own childhood. He wanted them to know they were loved and always had a place in his heart. But Andrew couldn't shake the feeling that something from his past was waiting to catch up with him. He had spent years trying to escape his past. But now, with his family to protect, he knew he had to stay alert. One evening, as they were enjoying a quiet moment, a figure emerged from the shadows, an alien named Raxon with red skin and glowing eyes. Andrew instantly recognized him and felt a wave of dread. "Andrew," Raxon said in a threatening voice, "it's been a long time." Andrew stood up, ready for a fight. "Raxon, what do you want?" Raxon smiled wickedly. "I've come to finish what we started. You didn't think you could run from your past forever, did you?" Azura and Celeste were shocked by Andrew's tense reaction. They had never seen him like this before. "Andrew, who is this?" Azura asked, scared. "What does he want?" Andrew looked at Raxon, his voice low. "He's a ghost from my past, a reminder of who I used to be." Raxon sneered. "You were always a fool, Andrew. You had a chance to be something great, but you threw it away for this little family and these half-breed kids?" Andrew's fists clenched. "Watch your words, Raxon. These are my sons, and I won't let you hurt them." Raxon laughed cruelly. "You don't have a choice. You're one of us, whether you like it or not." With that, Raxon attacked, his fist glowing with green energy. Andrew met him head-on, moving with speed and skill. They fought fiercely, their bodies a blur of punches and dodges. Azura and Celeste watched, terrified, realizing that Andrew was holding back, trying to protect them and their children from his violent past. After a long battle, Andrew landed a powerful punch to Raxon's jaw, sending him flying to the ground. Standing over him, breathing heavily, Andrew's eyes burned with protective anger. "Leave, Raxon," he said. Andrew spoke in a low, commanding voice. "Leave and never come back. My family is off limits. If you or anyone tries to hurt them, I'll make you pay." Raxon stood up, his face twisted with anger and humiliation. He opened his mouth to speak, but Andrew silenced him with a sharp gesture. "Go," Andrew said, his voice deadly calm, "before I change my mind and finish what I started years ago." Raxon hesitated, his eyes shifting between Andrew and the women behind him. With a frustrated snarl, he turned and disappeared into the night. Andrew stood still, tense and ready for a fight. Then slowly, he turned to Azura and Celeste, his eyes filled with sorrow. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I never wanted you to see that side of me. I didn't want you to know the things I've done, the person I used to be." But Azura and Celeste shook their heads, their eyes full of love. They embraced him, comforting him with quiet words. "We love you, Andrew," Azura said firmly. "No matter your past, no matter who you were, we will always love you. You're part of our family now, and that's forever." Celeste nodded, her voice full of emotion. "You're not that person anymore. You're a father, a protector, and the man we love. We'll never leave you. Not now, not ever." Andrew felt a deep sense of relief. He had spent so long hiding from his past, fearing the truth would destroy everything he loved. But now, with Azura and Celeste by his side and his son sleeping peacefully inside, he knew he had nothing to fear. They were a family, and families stuck together no matter what. As they held each other, they knew they were strong and would face whatever came next, together. After Roxanne's visit, Andrew, Azura, and Celeste became the focus of gossip in their small alien settlement. News of the confrontation spread quickly, and everywhere they went, people watched and whispered. At first, they tried to ignore the rumors, focusing on their family and the love they shared. They spent time with their sons, watching them grow. But over time, the whispers grew louder and the stares more obvious. Some neighbors avoided them, crossing the street or turning away when they tried to talk. Others asked direct questions about Andrew's past, wanting to know who he really was and what he was hiding. Andrew tried to avoid the questions, offering vague answers and changing the subject, but he could feel the distrust weighing on him. Azura and Celeste also felt the strain. They had always been proud of their unconventional family, but the judgment from their community made them question their choices. One evening, as they sat together, Andrew spoke up. "I think it's time to leave," he said seriously. "We need to start over somewhere else, where we can be a family without all this judgment." Azura and Celeste exchanged worried looks. They had lived in the settlement all their lives, but they knew Andrew was right. They couldn't keep living under the pressure of their neighbors' stares. "Where would we go?" Celeste asked. "We don't know anyone outside the settlement, and we don't know how we'd be received." Andrew took her hand, his voice full of quiet determination. "We have each other," he said, "and that's all we need. All we need is to build a new life, a new home, somewhere we can be free to love each other and raise our children in peace." Azora nodded, placing her hand on Andrew's. "He's right," she said with newfound strength. "We can't keep living in fear, constantly worried about what others think. We need to do what's best for our family, even if it means leaving everything behind." With heavy hearts and a mix of fear and hope, they made plans to leave the settlement. They packed their things, said goodbye to the few friends they had, and set out into the unknown. Their sons were carried on their backs, and their hearts were full of hope for a better future. As they walked, they talked and dreamed about the life they would build in their new home, imagining the adventures, the sights, and the love they would share. Though they knew the road would be tough, they felt that as long as they had each other, it would be enough. They were a family, and family stays together no matter what. Days passed, turning into weeks, as they traveled, following rumors and the stars to a far-off settlement on the edge of the known world. It was a place of mystery, where outsiders were welcomed and differences were celebrated. When they arrived, they were greeted warmly by the people, who were kind and curious. Andrew, Azora, and Celeste quickly found their place in the community. Andrew used his combat skills to help protect the settlement from outside dangers, while Azora and Celeste contributed their knowledge of healing and agriculture to help the settlement thrive. As the months passed, they began to feel a sense of belonging they had never experienced before. They were accepted for who they were, not judged by their past. Their sons flourished, making friends and growing with the other children. Watching them, Andrew, Azora, and Celeste knew they had made the right choice. However, even as they settled into their new life, they couldn't shake the feeling that their past wasn't finished with them. There were still mysteries to solve and secrets to uncover. In the quiet moments of their new life, they began planning to uncover the truth behind Andrew's past and the events that brought them together. They knew the path ahead would be difficult, but they were a family, and they would face whatever came together. As they looked to the future, they were filled with hope and determination. They were ready to fight for the life and love they had built. Soon, their unique skills drew the attention of the settlement's leaders. One evening, as the family sat together at dinner, Andrew sighed, lost in thought. Azora placed her hand on his arm. "What's troubling you, my love?" she asked. Andrew looked at her with a small smile. "I never thought I'd be caught up in politics again," he said. "Part of me just wants to focus on our family and shut out the rest of the world." Celeste leaned in, determined. "But we have a chance to make a real difference here, Andrew. Our experiences give us a unique perspective. We can use that to help everyone." Azora agreed. "Celeste is right. We have a responsibility to use our knowledge for good. It won't be easy, but we can do it together." Andrew smiled at the two women. "You're both right. We'll face this challenge as we always have, together." As the weeks passed, the family became more involved in the settlement's politics. This version simplifies the language, shortens some of the details, and focuses on keeping the essence of the story intact. Andrew's tactical skills and Azora and Celeste's diplomacy were crucial in forming alliances and driving positive change. They worked hard to fight corruption and protect the rights of the oppressed. During quiet moments, they shared their dreams and worries, finding strength in their love for each other. "I never thought I'd have the power to change so many lives," Azora said one night, gazing at the stars with Celeste. "It's both exciting and overwhelming." "You're a born leader," Celeste replied, holding Azora's hand. "Your wisdom and compassion inspire others to be their best. Together we can build a fairer world." Despite their busy roles, Andrew, Azora, and Celeste always prioritized their family. They cherished their time with their children, teaching them kindness, courage, and integrity. Andrew felt a renewed purpose as a father, proud to watch his sons grow. "You've given me the greatest gift," Andrew whispered one evening, lying with Azora and Celeste. "A chance to be a better man and father. I will spend my life trying to be worthy of your love and our children's love." Azora and Celeste, too, found strength in their roles as mothers and partners. They supported each other through every challenge, their bond growing deeper with time. "I never knew love could be so powerful," Celeste said, her voice filled with emotion. You and Andrew have shown me the true meaning of family. Azora smiled, tears of joy in her eyes. Our love has carried us through the hardest times, and it will continue to guide us as we build a better future for our children. As the years went by, the family's influence grew, and they became known as a force for good. But they never forgot their past lessons. They used their power wisely and humbly, always striving to do what was right, even in difficult times. We must always remember who we are and what we stand for, Andrew reminded his family. Our strength is in our love for each other and our commitment to a better world. Andrew, Azora, and Celeste's love story became legendary, a tale of hope, resilience, and the strength of family. Their children grew into strong, compassionate adults, carrying on their parents' legacy. In their later years, surrounded by their children and grandchildren, they looked back on their journey with gratitude and happiness. We've lived a life worth living, Azora said, holding Andrew's hand. A love worth fighting for, Celeste added, smiling through tears. And we will keep living in love now and forever, bound by the unbreakable ties of our family, Andrew said, pulling them close. Together, we have found our true purpose, and we will face whatever comes next, knowing our love will always light the way. With hearts full of hope and love, Andrew, Azora, and Celeste stepped into the future, ready for all the possibilities ahead, now and always, until the end of time.